SnowTrax is brought to you by Polaris. Think outside. Ski-Doo. Winter lovers, get out there and experience that Ski-Doo feeling. And by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
For anyone unfamiliar with what we call the trickle-down effect, it basically describes new and cutting-edge technology designed for a company's flagship models slowly finding its way onto more budget models for a lower price. The term is also used in reference to technology developed on the racetrack finding its way onto consumer products, in our case snowmobiles. In the late 90s and early 2000s, this was a reality for every manufacturer year after year. The old saying, win on Sunday, sell on Monday, was very real because designs developed on the racetrack this season were often being utilized to improve trail sleds next season. Sleds like AIRTIMES ZRs and Ski-Doo's XRSs took this to the extreme by essentially offering fully spec'd race sleds with the addition of oil injection to consumers. In more recent years, Ski-Doo's XRS has become less and less a race sled and more an ultra-aggressive trail sled. In 2024, Ski-Doo brought this race sled for the trail back though in the form of the competition package. But what makes the competition package more serious than an XRS, and what about it is trickle-down technology from racing? First, it needs to be understood that the 600 competition package is the sled that raced the Iron Dog endurance race. No changes, so that's impressive on its own. The competition package utilizes the same front and rear suspension setups as the XRS with one major and a few minor differences. The major one is the shocks. KYB Kashima-coated Pro 40s are found on all four corners of the competition package, and while the adjusters have been simplified, the technology inside the shock has come directly from the race sled. The minor changes include the rail stiffeners, the reinforced suspension arms, the four-wheel rear axle, and the solid idler wheels. Now these things are all pretty self-explanatory, but they all speak to one important point. Ski-Doo's race department works directly with their engineers. When a weak point of a part is identified on the racetrack, the information is sent back to the engineers who then work to strengthen that part. Typically, these durability improvements aren't talked about much, but do eventually find their way onto the trail sleds. One of the most important pieces of race-inspired technology that's found its way onto certain 2024 models is the four-piston brake caliper. Now this was something Ski-Doo has needed to address for years, and thanks to the trickle-down effect of racing technology, Ski-Doo's numb-feeling brake problem is solved. Other technology found on your current Ski-Doo snowmobile that was developed on the racetrack includes the P-Drive clutch, RS running boards, ergo side panels, open cockpit design, lower handlebar risers on the MXZ models, and the quick change drive axle. Furthermore, R-Motion X and RASX are both heavily influenced by lessons learned on the racetrack and are found all across Ski-Doo's lineup. With all this said, there are some things that work for racing but don't work for trail sleds, or at the very least are unnecessary for trail sleds. Ski-Doo's RS race sled includes R-Motion RX, which is a good example. It's designed to perform in the exact opposite way a trail rider would want his rear suspension to perform. The RS's taller spindle and wider than legal ski stance are another example of race sled designs that won't necessarily work on the trail. Other things on the RS, like the rear set toe loops, the beefed up rack steering system with its power assist that doesn't actually require any power, and the incredibly strong RS front clip, are things that are not well suited for the trail or how a trail sled is intended to be ridden. What I think is most important to take away from all of this is that the Ski-Doo snowmobile you are riding today has a huge amount of cross-country and snowcross racing developed technology from yesterday everywhere you look. Technology that's making your current Skidoo ride and handle better, go faster, and be more durable than ever before. So if you want a little peek into the designs and technology that you might find on your future Skidoo snowmobile, the Racetrack is a great place to start looking.
Now, I don't think it's a shock to anyone in the snowmobile world that 2025 was going to be a huge year for ARRTIC. The anticipation for their 858 motor, it's been massive. So go ahead and sit back, tear open your plaid button-up, reveal that team green t-shirt that you've been wanting to show the snowmobiling world, because the 858 is here, and I'm going to tell you all the variations you can get it in for the 2025 model year. So no sense in making you wait. Let's jump in and show you exactly what the 858 is, where you're going to find it in 2025, and also touch a little bit on the all-new Garmin-powered G8 8-inch display. So if you want a Catalyst in 2025, it's going to be a 2-stroke. Maybe in the future you'll see the 4-stroke make its way in there, but right now you've got the 600 and the 858. The new motor is a laydown design that delivers a low center of gravity, as well as being 4% lighter than the previous 800. Delivering better power to weight and an impressive 11% more power and torque than the 800. We always assumed the old 800 to have somewhere in the 150 horsepower range, so you can now say that it handily is somewhere around 165 horsepower, which is very solid in the 850 category. Okay, so I was supposed to tell you where you're going to be able to find the 858, but I got a little overwhelmed with all of the power excitement there. So let's go back, scratch that, reverse it, and tell you where you're going to be able to find it in 2025. You're going to be able to get the 858 in the Catalyst across the board. That means Trail ZRs, crossover Riots, and mountain climbing M models. In the ZRs, you're going to have 3 flavors to pick from: a base model with more basic IFP shocks, a step up to the Snow Pro with the all-new AC5S adjustable shocks, and then the premium level with the ATAC electric suspension. Now don't worry, should you want the maximum in race readiness, you can still get the ultra premium ZR RXC with the Fox QS3 and QS3R suspension packages. And yes, those shocks are black anode for extra drool from your buddies. Moving to the Riot lineup, you're going to find the exact same suspension spec options, minus the RXC, as this is just a cross-country spec sled. But you can go all the way up to ATAC on the Riots as well. And when you look at the M series sleds, you have similar but slightly different choices. There's the base M with the IFP coilovers, Snow Pro with QS3s, and then the top end M series with ATAC. However, these are not a coil like the trail sled, but a Fox float with ATAC feature, something that's unique to ARRTIC. From what I've been able to find out from ARRTIC, all 858 equipped ZRs and Riots are going to have electric start. Even the RXC is going to have electric start, which is a little bit of a deviation from the 600 RXC, which is available both in rope and electric. Now, the mountain segment will offer the 858 in both electric and rope start throughout the lineup, and it's going to cost you about $400 American or just shy of 500 Canadian to get electric on your M series. Now, when it comes to the new Garmin-powered G8 display, you'll find this on the M858 Mountain Cat, select Riot 2-stroke models featuring ATAC, as well as select ZR 2-stroke models with ATAC, but from what I can uncover, not on the premium 9000 series Riot or the Thundercat at this time, and obviously those aren't in the Catalyst platform. However, if you have a lower level 600 or 858 Catalyst, you can retrofit the G8 display onto these sleds after purchase through your ARRTIC dealer. So let's talk a little bit more about the G8 display, because while the 858 is huge news, I mean, really the other equally big news is this display for 2025. Now, some of the highlights of the G8 display are obviously the Garmin mapping system that does not require any cellular device or connectivity of any kind. But what you may not have known is that along with the map integration into this ultra slick display, you also get some pretty cool connectivity features that only one other manufacturer has ever had up to this point, all without the use of a cell phone. The G8 allows you to initiate group rides of up to 20 riders all on the display, and not just see their precise location, but also text back and forth to those riders on their group. Now, next level here, should you have a Bluetooth integrated headset linked to your G8, you can actually communicate through voice with those same riders and make sure your buddies who don't have a G8 or an ARRTIC sled don't feel left out. They can just download the app, and they can also see and be seen by those using their G8 displays as well. Pretty cool to see another manufacturer incorporate these features into a sled. Along with the group features, the integrated trail maps, points of interest, as well as topographical maps, and the detailed sled instrumentation is also phone connectivity for those who want it for smart notifications, weather forecasts, as well as live weather radar and paired music when a mobile device is connected. Now for 2025, Arctic Cat has answered what the industry has been begging for since they first saw the Catalyst platform many years ago. And that is a bigger, cleaner, more powerful engine. And the 858 is just that, giving Arctic Cat buyers their answer to the 850 class. Now, when you link this up with the all-new G8 display powered by Garmin, you've really got the indication that Arctic Cat is not backing off. And in 2025, I think Arctic Cat owners have all the reason in the world to go to their dealerships.
Trail Tech is sponsored by Princess Auto. Ideas, tools.
Being able to take gear along when you're out snowmobiling, it's really important, and each manufacturer has their own design style and setup for attaching to their snowmobile. But the aftermarket, they haven't been asleep either. And Kimpex with their Connect system seems to be at the forefront of the aftermarket push with easy to install, easy to connect, and very smart solutions for traveling with extra gear as well as extra fuel. Now the Connect system has been designed to work on all brands with an easy to install base plate for mounting. However, for this season, there's a very cool offering for those of you riding Skidoo sleds. And that is the new Skidoo Connect mounting rail. Now, while this does look like a pretty simple piece of extruded aluminum, it's a whole lot more than that. This mounting base allows the use of not just Kimpex Connect accessories, but also installation of your factory Skidoo Link mounts. So if you have some of both, you can now ride with all of them. And seeing as both brands offer quite a wide array of products, many of which are unique to each, this is a great way to maximize your storage possibilities and to get the best of both worlds while not sacrificing the factory link attachment points your sled may have come equipped with. Now, if you want to take the best of both worlds talk to new heights quite literally, let's talk about the Kimpex Connect stacking kit, which allows you to take more along for the ride in a smaller space. With the Kimpex Connect gas tank mounted at the bottom, the Connect stacking mount allows you to attach another Connect accessory on top of that gas tank for even greater versatility and packing power. Maybe you have two gas tanks for those ultra remote rides, or you're carrying a bit extra for the other sleds in your group. Now you don't have to be limited to just those fuel storage solutions, but can stack them up and bring along all kinds of extra gear. Now, if you only bought one set of Connect base mounts for your tunnel, this can really come in handy because you've only got one space to use. Now, it's also a lifesaver if your manufacturer doesn't offer an accessory fuel tank. Instead of trying to retrofit other brands' mounts to your ride, Kimpex has done the hard work and allows you to connect any of their accessories in a wide combination of ways, with one Connect on short tracks and two on the bigger length sleds, and then go double high should you want to. Because the mounts are all the same, you can also drop your fuel at a play destination for all of your off-trail rides, and then reconnect your storage bag so you're not carrying the extra weight when playing off-trail. Now, maybe bringing along extra fuel isn't really your top of need concern, but having enough gear for an overnight stay or even a weekend is something that you're more interested in. While there are options for smaller day trip or lighter gear bags, the 46-liter Explorer tunnel bag is an absolute beast for big-time storage. Offering multi-purpose storage possibilities and the ease of carrying handles for heading into the hotel or cabin at night, this bag has got you covered. Featuring a dry stack style 100% waterproof inner bag with roll buckle closure and Velcro, as well as 6 sturdy compression buckles to keep the top EVA semi-rigid cover in place, this bag is not just functional, it's very sturdy and ready to take some abuse. Now, it is good to keep in mind that larger bags like this Explorer tunnel bag do take 2 sets of base mounts on your tunnel, but there's a whole lot of options when it comes to either single or double mounts from Kimpex with Connect. No matter what you want to take along, fuel, tools, or extra gear, they've got you covered in a wide variety of variations that's going to make your next trip that much more enjoyable.
SnowTrax has been brought to you by Arctic Cat. Share our passion. Outaouais Tourism, snow-covered landscapes to explore. And by FXR, brings you more.
On this week's SnowTrax test ride segment, we're going to have to get inside your head a bit and find out where you think and where the market thinks this snowmobile from Ski-Doo fits into their lineup. We're going to talk about the Ski-Doo Renegade XRS 900 Turbo. Why do we have to revisit the Turbo 900 Rennie's target market? Because just a year ago, this sled was Ski-Doo's flagship snow shredder. Last year, BRP built nothing more powerful than this sled right here. Now Ski-Doo has shuffled the deck on us with the all-new MXZ XRS 850 Turbo E-Tech. Yeah, it's a two-stroke turbo, and its arrival signals a new era for Ski-Doo. The new E-Tech 850 Turbo is the hottest of all the hot rods in Ski-Doo's stable. Okay, so I'm not saying that the 900 Ace four-stroke turbo isn't fast. It is. It's crazy fast. But let me tell you something. Wide open down Kevlar Lake with the boys, the yellow guy's going to be there first. So maybe a better question is this. Who will buy the new Turbo 850 water-injected two-stroke, and would they have bought the Ace 900 Turbo if the two-stroke never happened? Told you I was going to get inside your head today. In the world of hyper sleds, it all pretty much boils down to one thing and one thing only: horsepower. That's what everybody's concerned about. And big horsepower makes top speed and wicked acceleration. And those things are all here, but I'll tell you something. This four-stroke 900 Turbo is about a lot more than just horsepower. The Renegade chassis is the home for all Rotax four-strokes in model year 2024. This makes great sense because this particular four-stroke can shred snow past 60 per. More track is more traction. Okay, keep this in mind as well about the Renegade four-stroke turbo. This sled comes with Smart Shocks. We have knighted Smart Shocks as the best riding suspension system in the biz, hands down, running away. So that's a big bonus with this sled, to have the best ride and tons of power. The 900 Ace under hood uses a BRP proprietary exhaust gas-driven turbocharger with an intercooler mounted up front. The motor exhibits great low-end torque in models without a turbo. The net effect of the turbo here is ridiculously urgent and forceful power delivery from engagement to full shift RPM. The suspension is set up to keep the front end on the snow. However, a quick tweak of the eccentric front torque arm bolts on the R-Motion slide rails will produce heroic wheelies on takeoff and give you an advantage when you're racing your buds down Kevlar Lake. So what's the magic number? 180 horsepower. That's what the four-stroke turbo puts out. But interestingly, it's also what the yellow guy puts out down there. The wet weights of these two hot rods are interesting as well. 635 pounds for the four-stroke, 614 pounds wet for the two-stroke. So here's what we think. The Turbo 900 Rennie is the ultimate big mile cruiser. With power and torque a mile wide and best in the biz suspension, this sled is made for the snowmobiler who thinks 300 miles a day is just average. Remember, this is a four-stroke, so no need to haul injector oil. Okay, so what about suspension? Well, the good news is a couple years ago, Ski-Doo upgraded the R-Motion to R-Motion X, and that's what's under this sled. That includes the eccentric adjuster bolt system on the front torque arm between the slide rails. That's a big mouthful, but here's what it means. You can adjust the way this sled will weight transfer. Whether it wheelies a lot, it'll stand up in the corners, or whether it stays flat a lot, it'll stay flat in the corners and not wheelie on takeoff. It's a really versatile setup, and it's easy to fiddle around with. It's right on the outside of the rail on both sides. Creature comforts and ergos are outstanding here. The Renegade Turbo comes with BRP's own 10-inch display, which puts the pilot in control of the suspension mode, the throttle mode, mileage, fuel economy, hand and thumb heat, fuel on board. There is also a fully integrated navigation system developed by Ski-Doo. Riding position is all-day comfortable, and the seat is flat-topped and firm. It's easy to move around on the Rennie Turbo. Of particular interest is the new bore piston drive axle brake caliper and an adjustable brake lever. You talk about overdue, the 2-piston caliper is just fantastic and makes a real tangible difference that Ski-Doo riders are going to appreciate as soon as they try this out. The other thing, the adjustable brake lever, only seen it on one other sled in the snowmobile industry, and that was on Yamaha's Apex a number of years ago. This setup with the adjustable brake lever and the 4-piston caliper changes the whole argument about braking systems. Polaris used to own the best brake in the business. There's now a challenge with the new Ski-Doo setup. Here's a new feature you may never come to appreciate. The drive axle is splined, allowing for quick and much easier track swapping. You can remove the track without opening the chain case. Okay, so here's an interesting deal from Ski-Doo. Remember when the Mach Z returned 2 years ago for a 1-year hiatus? Well, it had launch control, and so does the yellow guy, the 2-stroke turbo, and now the Ace 900R in the Renegade has launch control. Okay, so here's the deal. The 900 Ace Turbo R Renegade is one of the most versatile high-performance snowmobiles you can buy in model year 2024. You can run with your buds all day down Kevlar Lake and be in the hunt every time. This sled deserves your attention and a quick look-see before you buy any turbocharged snowmobile.